Welcome to New Stripe City, YouTube channel for diehard Bengals fans. I am your host, Ace Boogie. And the Bengals right now are up on the Lions 10-0. But as you can see, I'm somewhat frustrated because I feel like this team should be up potentially 21-0, depending on how you look at this game. Starting things off, let's get into it. Starting things off, this team came out hot. They came out with Chris Evans, which I liked. We've talked about that for weeks that they needed to do. He ends up scoring on a touchdown and gets a mismatch on a linebacker. Chris Evans makes it look easy, especially with what we've been expecting from him. Comes out and gets that touchdown. So it looks like when you see that this Bengals offense that hasn't been able to score on their first drive is definitely going to be in for a game where the offense is going to show up. And then completely after that, they just had plays and drives derailed by holding penalties, mistakes made by the offensive line, sacks given up. And this has been an offense that was not able to recover from that first score in the first quarter all the way until right before halftime, where they went out, ended up getting a field goal after a long pass to Jamar Chase. The offense, the one thing that I will say is the offensive line has not came to play. They had some mistakes from Trey Hill on that first drive. They gave up a sack on one of the plays as well. But the one thing that I will say is for them to come out and use Chris Evans early and for him to be effective and to just completely punt on that was something that was head-scratching. He seems like a guy that can definitely be a mismatch and a difference maker in this game. And for some reason, Zach Taylor and his offensive staff had decided not to use him. It's one thing if you brought Chris Evans out and he didn't end up doing anything, but he scored a touchdown and then they literally took him out of the game. There was some miscommunication on one of the plays before half that ended up being a 3-and-out as well. I think that Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins ran into each other on a play, so there was a miscommunication there. There's just some poor execution in some aspects of this game. You would think that this would be an offense that could completely be at 21 right now, that this would be a game that they could score 30 in. We'll have to see how they bounce back in the second half. But when we talk about the defense, you just have to tip your hat to this defense. They've been amazing this entire season. Once again, putting on another amazing performance. You got Logan Wilson playing out of his mind right now. Ended up with a huge interception after Joe Burrow threw an inopportune interception. That's another thing. The Bengals offense has given the ball to other teams in inopportune scenarios and positions. You talk about Joe. I feel like Chase, in my opinion, that's just my opinion. Some people disagree with me during the live stream. I think that Chase should have had that catch that was thrown pretty high because it went through his hands. But that was in bad territory. That was in their own territory. And the Bengals were able to step up, and Logan Wilson gets a huge play to make sure that they don't end that drive. And he ends up getting his fourth interception on the season. Trey Henderson is a beast. Trey Henderson is a dog. His imprint is all over this game. He is beating the hell out of Penei Sewell this entire game. I don't know if they're giving him 2 sacks. I think the other one was past the line of scrimmage. But he did have a sack in here. He's had some major pressure. Caused Jared Goff to throw a wide open pass that looked like it was a first down, completely errant and out of bounds. Ended up coming and rushing him on a play on a 4th down that caused him to throw it out of bounds. He ended up committing a 4th and forever, as my man Zim Hude would say, Andy Dalton type pass and play on that. The defense is playing out of their minds. Cheeto is playing out of his mind. A lot of the guys on this defense are doing their thing. Big credit to Lou Anarumo because his defense is single-handedly keeping the Bengals in this game, and for most of the season, the offense just has to get better. They've tried to do a mix of running and passing. We'll have to see what happens in the second half. I thought that the scripted plays that they had with Chris Evans worked. They got to go back to Chris Evans. They have to use him as a weapon. He needs to be able to be on the field at the same time as Joe Mixon and some of these other weapons, and they've got to get more consistent with them. So we'll see what happens in the second half. But the Bengals do get the ball after halftime. I expect them to go right down the field and score a touchdown. You got to put a team like Detroit away because you're on top of them right now. They're not a team that can really score in bunches, so you've got to get a solidified win, and you feel like you got to hit 30 in this game. I think you got to hit 30 in this game. This offense has struggled too much this season for them to not do that. They've got some plays to Tyler Boyd early in some situations. Jamar Chase gets a big, deep pass there at the end of the first half. And then you got T. Higgins some shots early, so maybe they continue to do that. They have not gotten CJ Uzoma involved yet. Maybe they'll do that in the second half. Joe Mixon is having a pretty solid day when he has been given his opportunities. So we'll have to see what happened. Darius Phillips, another big one that Andrew Siler just brought up, gets benched from his punt return duties, and I think the Bengals just saw enough. He ran sideways, didn't get a game, and since that, we have only seen Trenton Irwin in. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But it appears that Darius Phillips is no longer in this game. I'm sorry. I know my neighbor is out here with the bike, so sorry for the audio or the noise in the background. But I am still streaming live, so please be sure to check that out. And as usual, I'll leave you guys with a who day all day, every day, especially on Sunday.